briefly about the Black community at large in colorism. And for everyone that feels like colorism is just, a figment of your imagination, much like the Willie Lynch letter and things of that nature, and, things that classism and things like that doesn't play a part as far as how you're treated as a Black person and just the general hierarchy of life. I just wanted to remind you that colorism is alive and well, and we can even speak on that even further. For anyone that thinks that the Willie Lynch letter was something that didn't exist or it just was a hoax, me personally, I just feel like even if it was something that was not real, it was still issues that someone was observant enough to take notice and break down all these things in the Black community that just have to do with colorism and the social aspect and how Black men were broken, and why is it today that Black women are more masculine and Black men are more feminine, and things like that, pitting the young ones against the old ones, and just fighting because of the ways that we were treated on the plantation and how the master handled us individually based on what characteristics they felt like we could bring to the table. But nonetheless, for those of you that feel like colorism is not alive and well and still very prevalent today, you can even take a look at music, for example. I'll say I'm an avid follower of music. I record in my own time. But if you take a look at artists, like there's one popular, I would say more ratchet type artist. I don't really follow her, but I've known that she's got like a lot of traction recently, more like the Megan Thee Stallions of today. And there's a particular artist, I think she's based out of Atlanta, and she calls herself LightSkinKeisha. Now this is supposed to be, apparently how she got the name was in reference to the movie Belly and things like that, and she had gotten, I guess, comments from her peers or whatever stating that she looked like the actress in the movie, and that's why she adopted the name. But on the other side of that, I know that her being a brown-skinned female, because she is not light-skinned at all, but nonetheless, her being a brown-skinned female, she has to know the connotation that comes with that by calling herself LightSkinKeisha. By doing that, when there's different types of female rap artists, there's a lot of new age rap artists that have come out, but nonetheless, most of the topics are still the same. It's still materialism. It's still, how can you play a man? How can you gank a man? It's very much, pimp-like, almost, lyrics, or explicit lyrics for the most part. And she does understand that by calling herself LightSkinKeisha, or addressing herself, referring to herself by her skin tone first, that is going to have a lot of Black females following after her, and definitely she's going to get a lot of love from Black males, because Black males are very, very colorist. And it's not just Black males, it's Black women as well. But she knows by calling herself LightSkinKeisha, that separates her from the rest of the ratchet females that rap about the same 2 or 3 topics. It's just packaged a little bit differently. That's just something that I wanted to personally point out, because everyone knows growing up, me myself, I'm a brown-skinned female, and I've heard all kinds of things growing up, like as referencing people according to their skin tone. And you see this a lot in the Black family, especially when there's siblings, for example. There can be 2 female siblings, one is lighter, one is dark. They try to make the dark skin sister be the one that feels like she has to be the workhorse in life and, be the mule, and you have to have a job and have everything together. Basically take on all these masculine traits as far as like being providers. Not that there's any wrong with providing for yourself, because you should, but it's just made her to feel like, or give her the idea that she needs to take on the household and be able to provide, and basically you're just taking on a man as an accessory and not as anyone that's supposed to actually be a helpmeet. Now on the other hand, if you have the other sister that's more fair skin or light skin, as we would call it, or red bone, yellow bone, whatever word that you want to put there that basically means the same thing. She's pushed to more not really bring much to the table other than her way to talk to men and finesse them out of things and bring her looks to the table. So again, when we're referring back to female rap of today, when you're bringing up an artist like LightSkinKeisha, she just proves furthermore, if you hadn't heard it from Chris Brown already, which, you know, that's a light skin pass situation. Light skin guys are usually very highly emotional. But nonetheless, LightSkinKeisha just proves the fact, and Chris Brown proves the fact, that colorism still exists and is alive and well. So on the other side of it, when she's just saying, oh, I just came up with the name from a movie, yes, but on the other side of it, from a marketing perspective, and especially when you're selling to black people, who all of us mostly have a low self-esteem, and anything to do with skin tone is an automatic trigger. It's almost saying, okay, well, I know I'm coming out and I don't want to be seen or classified as these other, you know, dark-skinned female rappers that are not getting enough shine. So I'm going to do something to differentiate myself from the rest of them, even though I sound exactly the same. But if I call myself light-skinned or dress myself in that manner, that puts me on a different bar. Because when I saw her music, I'm like, okay, it's typical Atlanta, you know, ratchet sound or whatever the case may be. Nothing spectacular, nothing different stands out to me from this girl than the last 20 that I've heard that come up randomly on the playlist. But nonetheless, there's a market for everything. But what again I'm saying is just that she and her team was smart enough to know that by calling herself a light-skinned anything was going to trigger black women to be more attracted to listen to her music, because they feel like they can too take on that connotation if they have any low self-esteem issues just about the way they feel about their complexion, just on the way that they were taught or what they've heard growing up, just referring to themselves about being dark-skinned and, you know, all the negative things that come along with that. So this is She Writes Well Too. And I just wanted to speak on colorism quickly here. I mean, on a side note, great marketing plan, but for the black community, that's just more like a trigger for, you know, low self-esteem females and things like that. Will I listen to her music? Maybe in passing, but most of these artists kind of come, you know, they're here today and then they're gone tomorrow, and a year from now I probably won't even remember anything that she rapped about, because again, with female rap, there's only two types of female rappers that you can be. But again, this is She Writes Well Too. Colorism is alive and well, so think about it and just take a look at yourself and think about to yourself, like, how many times have you heard negative things about dark-skinned people in general, just according to your skin tone? Because this works both ways. This works with dark-skinned black men and dark-skinned black women. So for her to associate herself with lighter skin, she already knows that that was a marketing genius, and she did that for a particular reason, not the reason that she just stated in reference to she heard it from a movie character. It was to do with the fact that she knows that anything associated with light skin is seen as better, and that was going to have her looked at in a more positive light, even though her music raps about the same things everyone else raps about. Alright, this is She Writes Well Too, and I'm signing off.